Greetings, SoulTribe. So I'm coming to you with my very first podcast entry. I wanted to come and touch bases on first. I want to talk about being the black sheep of your family and coping with that, finding the peace and being that. So I want to start off with talking about I'm the oldest of three. My mom had 3 children, 2 girls and a boy. And growing up, from what I can remember, I had a pretty good childhood. I won't disclose a lot as far as my childhood on here because I am in the process of creating a audio/written book. So I will say, for the most part, I did have a pretty good childhood. When I got into, I want to say, high school. When I got into high school, it was like things changed for me. I want to say, I feel now, this is my opinion. I want to say that things changed for me. I would say because then I was, growing into myself, growing into my personality, growing into being a young lady, versus adolescent or a toddler or, an infant and all of that. You too much don't know about your surroundings or what's going on, or having your own voice. So once I got into high school, I was, I had my own voice, the capability of speaking, on this, that, and the other, and recognizing things. I would say most of all, recognizing a lot of things. In high school, I did, I want to say, I hated high school. I hated school, period. But when I got into high school, I hated it. I didn't like it. I would have said, when I got into like the 10th grade is when I pretty much grew into, I want to say that's when I really, really started to grow into myself, my womanhood especially. And, I got into my first real relationship, lost my virginity, all of that stuff. So, and I do want to put a disclaimer. If you are under the age of 18, please click off of this podcast. If you do choose to still listen, I highly recommend do not have sexual encounter. Stay abstinent until, practice being celibate until you're older. You know what I'm saying? I won't say that I was super young when I chose to do what I did, but, like I said, just wait, And if it's something that you still choose to do, protect yourself. Definitely protect yourself. Don't listen to the other party. Protect yourself. So, moving along, high school was, even though I hated school, like I said, when I got into my 10th grade year, it started to change for me. I started meeting new people, especially my boyfriend at the time. Like, everything was just great. So, when I was in high school, I started to also get into like some trouble. And with me getting into that trouble, I did end up being held back a year. When I got held back a year is when I want to say that I started taking notice of the toxicity in my family. Because they had a lot to say about me. I always heard, just a lot of vulgar, negative things. Basically, I wasn't going to amount to anything. I wasn't going to make it out of high school with a high school diploma. It was just so much mess. Just so much mess that would actually stick with you. You know what I'm saying? And I want to say, thankfully, thanks to me and my boyfriend that I had senior year, I made it out of high school with a high school diploma. I went to school day and night to make sure that I beat the odds and the naysayers. I did not play victim. I just did what I had to do to overcome the obstacle that I was faced with. So when I graduated, of course then it was a lot of family, and I do use that quotation hand gesture as I say that, but it was a lot of family who, oh, we knew you were gonna do it. Oh, we knew. Okay. So once I graduated high school, I ended up getting pregnant. So I got pregnant. I met this guy, and I got pregnant with my first daughter. Mind you, throughout high school, I've been a cosmetologist, a hairstylist for about 14 years. And I was doing hair. That was my job. That was the way I made my bread. And I would make about $500 weekly doing what I love to do. I was a self-taught hairstylist. And when I had my baby, I was still living with my parents. We had actually moved from the city, the south side of Richmond, to Chesterfield County. If you know anything about Virginia, then you'll know what I'm talking about. If you don't, then you're going to be lost. But yeah, we moved from the city to the county. Basically from, the city to the suburbs, the hood to the suburbs. You know what I'm saying? So, transition, that was before I started. That was when I was due to begin high school. And so we're in the county. I had my daughter, my oldest daughter, who's almost 16 now, and everything was amazing. My mom and my dad, I took care of my daughter. I raised my daughter. Well, my daughter had a custom crib when she was born, a $400 crib when she was born. Mind you, I was 19 years old. 19. I got pregnant with her at 19. And I had her when I was 20. But she was spoiled rotten, but she didn't want for anything. And I did this. I can sit here and say that I did it. If I wanted to, then I could have moved out of my parents' home, but it wasn't something that I had to do. So, ended up having my daughter. And when I tell you, y'all, that it was so many people who had so much to say about me being pregnant, who tried to talk me into aborting my daughter. It was so many people. Mind you, not only was I doing hair, I had also, after I had found out I was pregnant, I had actually took a job at a daycare center, and worked at the daycare center as a preschool teacher. And I stayed there until a month before I was due to have my daughter. So not only was I doing hair, I was also making extra money to do what I needed to do. But it was so much said about, me being pregnant, me having a baby on the way. Mind you, I was grown. I didn't ask nobody for shit. And, so I'm doing all of this to, prep and prepare for me and my baby. And I gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. So not too long after I had my baby girl, and like I told you, the title of this podcast, and what you will see before you click on, is Black Sheep. So had my baby girl, and when I had my baby girl, I want to say a little while after that, because our family consists of a lot of girls, and one of my cousins, she ended up getting pregnant as well. I want to say one or two of my cousins. Next thing you know, y'all, I started to hear it's, Sierra's fault. The reason why the other, cousins, or the other female cousins are choosing to have babies, or the reason why they're pregnant. Or when I tell you, when I heard this news, I was shocked. Like, I didn't know what to say. I just was disgusted, sick to my stomach, because I was like, I guess I was in the room as well when they laid down directing the whole situation as well. When they decided to lay on their back and do what they chose to do. I had nothing to do with that. That was a decision that they made. Mind you, these same cousins that they spoke about are amazing mothers, awesome mothers. To this day, they are amazing mothers. So it was crazy how the blame was placed on me. Mind you, not once did I ever have a conversation with them about, just pushing the fact to get pregnant. We never even discussed anything like that. You know what I'm saying? It was just about at the time, it was about my new baby girl. It was the congratulations. It was the, I'm happy for you. That's what we discussed. That's what was talking about amongst us. It wasn't me trying to encourage my cousins to get pregnant as well. I never had that type of mentality. I hear that bullshit, and we move past that situation. So, later on down the line, it was just bits and pieces of things that I would hear. It was just so much talk about me and my lifestyle, and, it was a mess. And just me basically so-called never going to amount to anything. Mind you, I'm the most creative here. Not to toot my own horn, but I'm the most creative. Like I said, I was still doing hair, making my money, to take care of my family, and yeah. So, ended up moving, getting my own spot, and when I got my own place, I ended up getting pregnant again. People were trying to persuade me, trying to encourage for me to abort this baby as well. And I'm a person who does not believe in abortions. If it's something particular, y'all get my drift, that may occur and the person gets impregnated, then, I basically I feel like it depends on the situation. So, and I had my daughter, my second daughter, and ended up moving in my own spot. So I moved into my own spot, and when I moved into my own spot, it was me and my kid's father when we, in our own spot. And at this time, I was still doing hair. I had a different job. And, it was some things that had took place. Like I said, I do have a book coming up to detail everything. It had got to the point where, I was getting interrupted at work. I basically had to quit my job. So I quit my job. I kind of fell on hard times. And the moment that I had to go and ask someone for help, it was stated to me that you either, we want you to put out your kid's father. That's the only way we'll be able to help you. Put out your kid's father. So I complied, and that's what I did. Do you know that I still didn't get any help? An outsider that I looked at as a mother figure actually helped me. So they helped me. I stayed in my place, but then things just got too much for me, and I ended up moving. It was just a lot of mess, and like I said, at the end of the day, people choose to do what they want to do. Sometimes I feel as if, like, it's a lot of times where I wish that I was the person who had, the bigger bank account or something like that, because I promise you I would do like classes on how you truly help people. You know what I'm saying? How you truly be there for people. Because I just feel like when you have the means, it shouldn't come with any stipulations. It shouldn't come with any strings attached. That's how I feel. But to each his own. Having my third daughter. I have my third daughter. Have my baby. Mind you, around this time I was babysitting, doing hair. And I want to say around this time I started YouTubing. And this is when my life kind of took a turn it was just crazy. And which I'm not going to go in detail about it, because this will be another subject for a different podcast. But my life took a turn, and I ended up, sooner or later, I want to say, did I move? Yes, I ended up meeting someone else. Ended up moving. And once I moved, it was a lot, of course, said about that situation as well. But with me being the black sheep, as I was saying, I'm definitely the black sheep of my family. I know it. And you, as the black sheep of your family, you go through so much. You go through so much. If you may think you're the black sheep, but you don't know the signs, I want to say number one for me was being a loner. Being highly open-minded. A lot of black sheeps are empathic, highly intuitive. You also are the one that you're gonna draw in a lot of narcissistic people. You're gonna come in contact with a lot of narcissistic people. You're gonna come in contact with people who want to talk to you, but then they don't want to hear the truth. If you have children, your children you may face some difficulties, with your children, especially your oldest. But they're going to inhabit a lot of your empathic, intuitive characteristics. Excuse me. Some other signs are, like I said, basically being a loner. You may be spiritual. You may be highly spiritual. Once in your life, you may have been religious, but you knew that it was something deeper. You knew it was a deeper situation, and you chose to do that research. You chose to research. And yeah, you're highly creative, highly intelligent. You, like I said before, you hated school. And yeah, you may be drawn to tarot. You may be drawn to crystals. You may be drawn to drawing, journaling, arts and crafts. You could be a person who likes all genres of music. So you may find yourself not being on the same frequency as some people. Being able to read energy. You may be the type to meet somebody for the first time and say, I don't like them. Like, I'm known to be that type of person. And a lot of times, like, I can meet people through other people, and I could say, I don't like them. And the person who knows them is like, why? You know, why don't you like them? Da, da, da. And I'm like, I don't, it's just something about them. And then it comes down to it that it was something about them in the long run. You know, something ended up happening, and you know, it comes out that they were this or that, you know. Yeah. So it is a very interesting journey. But as a black sheep, not everybody can walk. Nobody can fill our shoes. No, I would say no one can fill our shoes. We're the only ones that can fill our shoes. It's not an easy journey. You're faced with a lot of things, and it's only because the universe knows that you're capable of getting through them. Always remember that. When you feel as if you have a lot on your shoulders, you're extremely weighted down. I was a person who was a self-cutter. I was suicidal. I was depressed. You know, I had a life-changing situation that happened to me August of 2018. I was diagnosed with a spinal cord tumor that could have killed me. The surgery could have killed me because it was a failed removal surgery. And this diagnosis just came out of nowhere. I went in for some back pain and got some scans done, and it was there. It took me a while to gain understanding, you know, but I know that I'm not on this journey alone. And that's what you have to understand as a black sheep, that you're not on this journey alone. Never let anyone convince you that you're on this journey alone, because you're not. Never allow anyone to convince you that you're on this journey alone. And like I said, one point in time in my life, I did feel that way. I'm not going to lie, I did feel that way. I want to say it happened to me. My sister had started going to church. Mind you, I was raised in the church. I used to go to church every Sunday with my grandparents. And I remember it like it was yesterday. And I was raised in the church, and then as I got older, I strayed away from the church because it was a certain church that I was going to, and I started to take notice of things in the church, and it was certain things that happened in the church. When I will always go, I'm a person who does believe in prophets and prophesizing. But when I would always go, it was women that were there who were prophets. And they always would tell me, every time I went, they always would tell me that I was a prophet. My place is teaching. You know, my place is speaking. And I knew it. You know, I knew it. It was just something deep down within me that I knew it, that I felt. I dreamed about it. I would have dreams about it. And, higher beings will come to me and actually tell me in my dreams that I was marked. I was marked. It's my calling. So, I want to say later, as I became an adult, me and my sister would go to her father's church. My sister ended up getting baptized. I never would get baptized because it was something about it. I just knew it was something about it. And this is not to be disrespectful to anybody's religion. I will touch on religion and spirituality later on this channel. But it was just something about it, and I didn't want to. So she ended up getting baptized. We were going to this church, and later on down the line, we just realized that this church is just like the next church and the next one and the next one. So ended up coming out of there, and around that time was when my life just changed. I had got to the point where I wasn't sleeping. I was staying up wee hours of the morning. It was just a lot of things that took place in my life. All the way down to being faced with demons. I've been faced with 2 demons, actual head to toe, entities. But these are things that I conquered, and it's only because the Most High knows that I possess those capabilities to do so. So, I will always beat myself up about my gifts. I will always beat myself up about being a black sheep. But as I grew into my spirituality, and I'm still growing, I'm still ascending, I'm learning to accept it for what it is, and I'm learning to love it, and just grow into it and just let it take me to multiple levels. And me speaking to you all about, experiencing the same, you have to understand. You have to understand this. I come across people on YouTube, and it's like I can sit and, I see people who may have down days, and, they're talking about depression, and they're talking about that they're going through this and going through that, and I see it in them. I see that they're the black sheep. I see that they're empathic. I see what they're going through. They're going through it, and a lot of these people do not understand what they're going through. You also have to understand that with us being the black sheep, with us being the calling, being called on, we are automatic targets. You have to understand that as well. So in the spirit, we all know that right now with spiritual warfare going on, you have to understand that you are an automatic target. Not all of us, some of us, those that are called, those that have a calling on them. So therefore, you have to keep yourself protected. And which on this channel, I will also be tapping in and touching bases on how to do those things as well. So yeah, it really, really hurts me when I sit and I see people going through what they're going through in this time, and they're just so confused. It really, really bothers me, and a lot of times those people, you may catch me leaving long paragraphs in their comment section. It's only because I'm coming from a place of love, and I hate seeing it. I hate seeing it because I know that if this person is lost, if this person does not have direction, if this person does not know what's going on, it can lead to much worse things. And we're needed out here. We're needed. So, yeah, shout out to all my black sheep listening right now. I hold much, much love for you, much respect, high vibes, and I'm here to tell you that as a black sheep, I'm 36 years old, and I'm still going through the ups and downs within my family, and it's just the mess. Like, some of the stories that I could disclose would awe you. You would be like, what the hell? But like I said before, and I say it all the time, I know why I'm faced with what I'm faced with, and I'm okay with that, because it's teaching me. It's building me up, and I'm also able to teach my children. And that's what we have to understand too, as black sheep. You have to pass down the knowledge to your offspring. Do not forget to pass down the knowledge to your offspring. Do not ever think that they're too young to understand. You have to pass down the knowledge to them. You have to break the stigmas. You have to break the chains. You have to. So, yeah. Drop your stories down below in the comment section. If you have any ideas as far as podcast subjects or topics, definitely drop them down below. I'm always open for new ideas, even when it comes down to my ASMR, sleeping therapy, cleansing, videos. Definitely drop your ideas down below. I'm open for ideas all the time. I hope you all are having an amazing Saturday. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, stay blessed. Love and high vibration, Soul Tribe. Until next time.